Hello and welcome to Ant and Rabbit. I'm Anthony Tanu. He is Jameson Rabbit. Jameson, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I get to. It's always just a wonderful, special time with you.
I look forward to this every time we get together.
Hell yeah. I want to ask you first and foremost, what have you seen lately or this week? And your most recent film. What did you see most recently?
Yeah, last night I went and saw DC's The Flash.
All right, we
Yeah.
talked a little bit about some controversy regarding Ezra Miller in
Yeah.
our last episode, and I wasn't fully aware of what the situation was at the time. And now that
Yeah.
I have more details, I'm really blown away by, I don't know, the whole thing. And it feels like we're just a few weeks away from maybe DC keeping distancing themselves in ways
Yeah.
from their
I would not be
star.
surprised if that happened. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw some of the red carpet stuff too, where they just kind of looked out of it in some ways, and
Mm,
people were speculating whether or not Ezra was on drugs or what
sure.
was going on there.
Yeah.
But I still have a great interest in seeing the movie, and so much of that is tied into because I'm not someone who has seen many of this particular corner of the DC universe.
Sure.
I saw some of the Affleck stuff, but that was just because, like, if it's Batman, then I do want to see it. I didn't see much of like Suicide Squad or
Yeah, you're
um,
okay.
yeah, like, and that's kind of what I've gotten out of it is that I'll be all right.
Yeah.
And even some of the Affleck Batman stuff, I love him as Batman, but I didn't like the execution of the
Yeah.
movies and stuff that I saw. But I know he'll be a part of this Flash movie as well. But then most
Yes.
important, not just Batman being involved, which brings my attention, but Michael Keaton's Batman being back
Yes. That's
for
the
the first
draw.
time since 1991. Batman
Yeah.
Returns is
Yeah.
91 or 92. So okay, tell me about how how much you enjoyed or didn't like the film. I know you don't want to give away too much because you of course want people to check out real reviews, which
Well,
you'll be doing this movie for next week's episode.
yeah. And it just came out. I mean, I have a lot I would love to talk about, but I don't want to ruin anything.
Oh,
But
so it was opening night last night when you
yes.
saw it. Okay.
Yes. Just came out. Um, yeah, I went in with, fairly high expectations. I have not enjoyed most of the DC movies recently.
Okay.
I think it's been a real struggle. And I'm not an Ezra Miller fan, but they've smartly marketed the Michael Keaton part of the film.
As
And he
heavily as
doesn't,
possible.
and he doesn't show up until an hour into the film.
Okay.
It's a 2.5 hour movie. And you actually get double the Ezra Miller as he travels
Right.
through time. And now we get two Ezras. Man, I had so much fun with this movie though.
Really?
It
So
was incredibly fun. It's good. It's good action. Ezra Miller is surprisingly charismatic. At least one half of Ezra Miller,
sure.
one of the two versions. Um, it's fun. They play around with the entirety of the DC universe. There's so many little nods to things you know and love. It both in Superman, in Batman, because as he goes back to a different a 1990s universe of the Flash, it's a different Batman. That's what brings Michael Keaton in.
Okay.
He's searching for other Justice League heroes who may or may not exist, and if they do, might exist in other forms. It's a
Ah,
it's a lot of
okay.
fun. Yeah. So we start with the Affleck Batman, and then Flash goes trying to fix something by traveling through time and screws things up, and next thing you know, he finds himself up in a parallel universe where Michael Keaton is still the Batman. And yeah.
I remember as a kid there was a Flash movie, and that is, I mean, early 90s, maybe late 80s. You remember a really
I know I remember the series, the TV series.
like from
I was like, would have been like Fox, early Fox before the WB existed.
okay.
That would have been like Lois and Clark era of superhero television.
So 1990 there was a Flash movie. I
Oh,
remember
I don't
renting
remember this.
this. I mean, this
Okay.
was yeah, and this was just and then oh, there was also a series 1990 to 1991. So they would have
I
came
wonder
out
if
at
that
the
was like
same
a
time.
pilot. I wonder if that was like a
Yeah,
pilot movie.
I wonder if that's the case, but I remember renting it at a video store in the
Okay.
90s, and it was cool because you see the Flash like running track and stuff like that, but it
Yeah.
was, for its time, but I'm sure it would not hold up
Oh
whatsoever.
yeah.
And that I
Yeah.
just have a memory of seeing it, but nothing nothing stands out other than that specific scene.
Right.
But um God, yeah, I love Batman, but this round of DC just hasn't.
It's been
And but
rough.
is this so? Do you think this is the best they've put out so far?
This is the best that I've seen in quite a while. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, it's been getting worse and worse. I mean, Black Adam was pretty bad. Um, Going back, and this kind of sets off a bit of a restart. Like they're trying to restart the DC cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Um,
Is this the ending in some ways,
no,
or
because there's a post-credit scene that kind of extends. I mean, we know we have Aquaman 2 coming out next year. We know that Momoa is got another Aquaman movie. But they're kind of resetting as they go. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I saw it with my wife last night, and I said, this is a long holiday weekend. I said, I'm probably going to see it again this weekend. Probably going to grab somebody else to go see it, and I'll go check it out
wow?
again because there's so much going on the screen, and there were things I know I didn't catch. And there was a lot of, he gets into the Speed Force, and there's all kinds of stuff going on, possible timelines happening all around him, and you see things all over the background as things are swirling of various timelines that could be happening. And they throw so many Easter eggs in there, and I'm going, oh, that's great. Oh, I think I just saw something, and I want to watch it again just to catch that. I mean, it was made by somebody who loved DC movies going back to the 70s
Yeah.
and said, let's have some fun with this. And I would love to tell you some more, but I'm not going to do it on air.
Okay. All right. That makes me very excited for things that I don't know along the way that could be involved. And
Yeah.
this is like I said, I'm not a big fan of the current DC, but I've been wanting to see this movie for quite a while now. And I don't
Yeah.
remember like there's 4 movies this summer that I'm been very excited about, and 2 of them are out right now that are the 2 um
The two superhero
superhero
movies.
movies, yeah,
Yeah.
because obviously Spider-Man is right up there, and now I'm not sure which one I would rather see first. Now that you have seen both, what would you, if I could only, if I can only go to one movie this weekend
Yeah.
or over the next week, what would it be? Would it be Flash or Spider-Man?
It would be Spider-Man. I mean, Spider-Man is the only movie I've given 5 stars to this year.
Oh, really?
I went and saw that twice on opening week. It's awesome. And I'm super thrilled because it ends on a cliffhanger. And there was a 5-year gap between the last one and this one. And the
Yes.
cliffhanger came, and it was a literal to be continued, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait 5 years. Then I looked, and it's already done, and it comes out next March. The
Yeah.
next, I'm like, oh, thank the
Think.
Lord. 10
Yeah.
months. Yeah, that one is, yeah, I gave it a perfect score. I dig this one a lot too. I mean, they're both great, and yeah, I mean, kind of encouraging. There's not a lot in the box office right now, other than those two.
Sure.
Transformers came out in between the two of them.
Yeah, which I've heard is better than people anticipated, I
Yeah, it's
guess.
all right. I mean, it was supposed to be a Beast Wars movie. It's called Rise of the Beasts. That we
Okay.
introduced the Maximals and all that, and then the Maximals disappear for the majority of the film, and it's just a Transformers movie again until like the last 20 minutes, half hour. The Maximals show back up to help the Autobots. Like, this
Yeah.
isn't really that. It really isn't the Maximals movie. And Anthony Ramos is in it as the human element in this movie. And it does the thing that drives me nuts about Transformers movies is it focuses on the human for the
Yeah.
majority of the movie. And the first like 20 minutes of the movie is like him dealing with his little brother having a disease, and they don't have health insurance, and he's trying to figure out the healthcare system. And I'm 20 minutes into the movie still really trying to figure out how he's going to get health insurance. And I'm like, what are we doing? Where are the robots?
Yeah.
I don't care about the state of the healthcare system in 1994. Like, this is
That's when it takes place.
yes, which also is cool because it's got a great 90s hip hop soundtrack.
Okay, yeah.
Like, bangers. But
Sure.
then you will appreciate this, I think. You said it in 1994. We put 1994 on the screen, Brooklyn. And then they drop a Biggie song that didn't come out until 1997.
Mm.
And it just irritated me.
I'm the same way. I'm
Because I
the
go,
same
I
way.
know that song didn't come out until 97.
Yep.
Like, come on, man. It's not that difficult to get someone on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. That's something that I'm like, this wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
If it's on in the background and it's not actually something they're listening to in the scene, I get it, but I like the proper,
Yeah.
chronology of things like that when it comes to music.
For sure.
But I can see Transformers skipping out on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen anything good? You've been watching anything? You've been watching, checking out any television programs or anything?
Yeah, I got a few things we'll get to, but I want to ask, like you
Huh.
mentioned, you were surprised by Ezra Miller or being. So, did you had an idea of them coming into the film, or what have you seen from them? I just looked. I just know the name Ezra Miller from Flash. Like I don't
So
know
yeah, I
other
mean,
Ezra Miller stuff until I looked up IMDb, and I'm like, all right, there are things I've heard of, but nothing that I've watched. Whether it be shows like Californication, I would love to watch at some
mhm.
point.
Yeah, I
But
mean, it's basically just off of their previous appearances as Flash in Justice League. In Was it Batman v Superman or was it just Justice League that they were in?
Batman of versus Superman: Dawn of
Yeah,
Justice.
yeah. Um, and I was like, man, this is a bad Flash. I don't. He stood out. They stood out as like the one character that I'm like, I just don't. This it's not right. And there's also a Flash television show right now, which I've kind of peeped in on a few times, and I'm like, I really like this Flash.
Yeah, and Ezra
And
Miller, it looks like did one episode of.
oh, really?
That's what I think I'm
Yeah.
seeing that on the
Yeah, and
IMDb.
I like this Flash, and Ezra Miller is. This was before all the public problems. Just and I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, they just I don't know, man. I didn't like the performance in that as Flash, and then story after story starts coming out, and controversy after controversy starts coming out. I'm like, oh, and they're not really a great person to begin with. Awesome,
yeah,
and I try not to let that color my movie going experience.
right.
But I go in like, well, I'm not like rooting for this actor. But yeah, so I was kind of caught flat-footed, like, wow, I really liked him in this role. I really liked him in this specific direction of this role.
I feel much more drawn to see the Flash right now
Yeah.
over Spider-Man, even though Spider-Man I know is gonna be good, but I feel like I don't know, I can watch that anytime. Where I feel like right now I need to see that Flash movie.
And I would say of the two, they're so different, but I think of the two on the big screen, the Flash has so much. Oh god, I can't even say it because Spider-Man is every inch is filled, but the Flash has a lot of really interesting effects that are cool to see on the big screen.
Do you think it being live action gives it, like, there's just so much more you have to do, and there's, I don't know, a lot of difficulties with making things look real compared to something is animated?
Yeah, I think that like for Spider-Man, I thought that the real star of that movie was the animators because they just did so much with the screen and just colored palettes and just made it look incredible as with a great story. But yeah, there's a lot to make the Flash believable and interesting, I think is tough with live action without the effects looking really cheesy. Like we make this guy run really fast, and yeah, I thought they did a really good job. There's only a few moments in there I was like, well, that looked kind of wonky, but whatever. I thought they did a great job of introducing the Speed Force again and the way he traveled around. And yeah, there's some CGI things in there that are pretty cool looking.
And someone made it seem, one of the movie groups on Twitter, about they did certain things with like the lights and stuff at times in the Flash that people were like, "Is something wrong?" But it was done on purpose.
Hmm.
I don't know if there's anything that stood out to you that was in that way, or I'm not
No,
sure, but
I'm wondering what they're talking about. I'm not sure.
okay. Friend of the show, videographer and photographer Ankar Singh, who has helped out at the media center where you and I met, and
Yeah.
is just part of Speckled State and a lot of other cool stuff that people should check out. Ankar Singh. He told me about the first Spider-Man, that it was the way the animators did it is that you can pause the movie at any time, and it will, just the way it is animated, that you can pause at any time, and instead of it being blurry, it will look just like a crisp page in a comic book, which I thought is just like, what a cool little extra detail. That, I mean, who would have thought? I don't know, I just think there's little
Yeah.
things like that that make Spider-Man so special.
Well, and the way they the thing I love about those two Spider-Man movies is the look of them is something completely different. And
I
the
agree.
way they mix mediums like this one, there are moments that look like they're directly off of a comic book page. And you see the little dots, the printing dots that you
Oh,
would see in the comics.
yes.
It looks and they play with time frames, like they go back to like 1960s Spider-Man, more modern. But then there's other shots where Gwen Stacy's father, who's like a neo-noir police chief, and he's hard on the trail of Spider-Woman, and there's shots that look like they are gorgeous paintings as he's in the shadows and he's dealing with self-doubt, and you're like, this looks like a completely different movie in these moments, and the way that they meld that, and it doesn't feel like we had two different teams of animators and they came back with two totally different visions. Like sometimes you could do that and it just looks like, well, this feels disjointed, but this just melded together perfectly. And yeah, you frame it and it just looks like, oh, I'd frame that and put that on my wall. If you freeze this spot, I'd hang that on my wall too. Like it's incredible looking animation.
Hell yeah. Oh man, I'm so excited. I might have to do a two
Just do
for
a double
Tuesday.
feature. Yeah.
Yeah. And you do that pretty often, don't you?
I do. I do. Next week, I'm doing a triple feature.
What? Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna hammer out one of those. But yeah, these are both long movies, though. Like they're both like 2+
Right.
hours.
Yeah. In
So
2018, and you mentioned earlier Aquaman,
yeah,
Aquaman 2 coming out.
yeah.
In 2018, I went with you to Aquaman for the
We
7 o'clock,
did.
and then we did I can't it's an Emma Stone movie. It takes place in maybe like the 1800s, 1700s.
Was that
It's like the something. Um,
the
not
favorite?
the favorite. I think it is the favorite.
Was it
Yes.
Rachel Weisz as well?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, the
And
favorite. Oh
it
wow,
won for
yes,
costume, I think, that
yes.
year.
And I believe Olivia Colman won for Best Actress as the queen in that movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep during it. So I did not quite make it. And then of
Good
course,
call.
yeah, and then you and I walked out with different opinions of the movie. 'Cause
Yeah, one of us saw it.
yeah, because one of us saw it, the other one woke up at the credits, and I was like, "That sucked."
I didn't have a very good dream.
Oh my goodness.
I love it.
Okay, so I got to see Flash and Spider-Man. Yeah, we might have to do a little reconnaissance after that, but
I
I'm
would
so
love to.
excited with not just how the animation, everything that Spider-Man is, and where movies are going, and things like that, and then even the success years ago of like a Lego movie, and then Lego Batman.
Sure.
Do you see other superhero stories being told in this form or this type of animation that Spider-Man is? Now he is I don't know if you're the one who shared this, but like the most popular superhero right
Oh yeah,
now, and
yeah,
of
yeah.
the last probably 10 plus years, or
Yeah.
maybe since, I don't know, maybe even going back further than that, but it's basically been Batman or Spider-Man for the last 30 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
But like, with the success of that Lego Batman, and the fun that you can have with that, but then also this style of Spider-Man, like, do you see us getting more Marvel movies or more comic book movies that are animated like this, and kind of doing like this? The Spider-Man one's almost turning into a series, doing two in 9 months or something like
It's
that.
funny though. Okay, so it's funny you mentioned those movies in particular because they're all made by the same people.
Oh, really?
It's Lord and Miller that did the Lego movies
Oh, I didn't know that.
and the Spider-Man movie. And in this Spider-Man movie, you also get a bit of Lego Spider-Man.
And so I've seen some
Yeah.
pieces of that,
Yeah,
and there
that's
was
kind of Lord and Miller are kind of the innovators of the new era of animation styles. Yeah.
because there's something special about these movies and their style, which is funny. I mean, I know, like you said, they do the Lego in the Spider-Man, but like what Spider-Man is and what the Lego Batman was are two
Mhm.
completely different things. Like
Sure.
Lego Batman, I mean, it's Legos and it's a comedy, whereas the Spider-Man, like, yes, it can be funny, and Spider-Man is, he talks a lot of trash, but
Yeah.
it's a different thing they're trying to accomplish, a different goal, a different type of character.
Yeah, and like this Spider-Man is more of a teen drama, teen angst drama than a
Sure,
comedy.
than Will Arnett's
Yeah.
Batman. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean the success of the Lego movie and Lego Batman and such have spawned a whole direct to video market of Legos superhero movies, Lego all kinds of movies, but a
Sure.
lot of Lego Superman, Batman movies, Lego Justice League,
Yeah.
Um yeah, I think you have to have the strong property though, because they've also made like the Lego Ninjago movie and the Lego this movie, and those don't always
Yeah,
they
and
don't gain traction.
right.
So I think it's more about the property that you're having fun with the animation as opposed to just this having fun with animation. I think you have
Yeah.
to have something that's got something to it before you start playing and tinkering with the style of it. The substance has to be there as opposed to the style.
Okay. And I know that a lot of those, especially those early Lego movies, are just kind of straight to DVD,
Yeah, yeah.
mini episodes and things like that. And we're starting to see a number of things on Disney Plus with some of the Lego Star Wars stuff.
Right.
And to me, Star Wars, I could see them going all out and doing something along these lines of the Lego Batman mixed with somewhat of the Spider-Man that we've seen now.
Yeah.
And I could see that doing really well if it was, like you said, Lord and Miller doing a Star Wars,
Yeah.
and maybe not be full canon and just kind of have some fun as a
Because
side thing.
they've done the original trilogy in a Lego-ish style with
Yeah,
kind of jokey whatever, but it's basically kind of like following the exact movies just in Lego
right.
version,
Not
and
like
that's fun,
playing with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want Lego stuff? Legos are awesome.
If you had to pick like the next superhero to be in one of this style of movies of the Lord and Millers, do you have a superhero or
Yes.
even a type of, some other sort of character that you think would lend itself very well to this type of style? Or
I think Green Lantern would be awesome in this because
oh
Green Lantern has so much that he can do, and that ring does so many cool things, and the story of Green Lantern and how the ring turned him dark, and just there's so much that goes along with Green Lantern that failed with the Ryan Reynolds movie, but is incredible. I think that could be visually stunning and also is a really, really interesting story. I would love to. I feel like Green Lantern got a stink on him, and he's one of my favorite superheroes. He got a stink on him off of that awful Ryan Reynolds movie, and I'm hoping that that's washed away at some point. We can try it
hey,
again.
Daredevil, like
Exactly.
that. You take what Ben Affleck did, and we're just crapping on him.
Yeah.
In 2003, 2004, and then what Netflix did with the Daredevil series, and
Yeah.
you've completely changed the idea of that character. And I think Green Lantern would hopefully be something similar,
Yeah.
where people would forget that movie. I still haven't seen, or most of it at
You're
least.
okay.
I'll be all right.
You're doing just fine.
I wanted to look up what other Lord and Miller stuff there is, which is interesting, just to see, like, with what they're doing with properties and things that already exist,
They
what
were
would
supposed to
they
do
do?
were they
Yeah,
supposed to
something
do
of their own idea.
they were supposed to do a Star Wars movie? Gosh, what was it? They got pulled off of a property recently.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was now.
Um,
Like in the last
Solo, a Star Wars story.
that's
So
what it was.
they did they're
So
uncredited for something, and for Solo, a Star Wars.
because they were originally the directors of it, and then there was problems during
Yeah,
the making of it, and they were replaced. Yeah.
and that ended up being
Was that Ron Howard?
for Solo. It is, wow, it is Ron Howard. I was not
Yeah.
expecting that. And that's one
Yeah.
that didn't do so well, or is not really highly regarded.
Man, I think it gets dogged for a bad. I just rewatched it recently. Like, this is a pretty good movie, but it had so much controversy around it. And Ron Howard, not really your first pick for a Star Wars story.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think
That's why I was
good
like,
movie.
I thought you were wrong. And
No,
I
they just
typically
wanted
believe what
Disney
you
wanted
say,
to go
but
with, let's go with
a
a
big name.
stabilizing force,
Yes.
right? A
Yep.
name, somebody who's
Force.
not going to ruin it. Like, it might not be great, but it's definitely going to be solid, right? That's Ron Howard for sure.
So a few months back, I decided to restart Star Wars and watch all the way through. And I watched the first couple movies and had so much more fun with them than I recall. And actually, Episode 2, I hadn't seen since the theaters
Okay.
when it came. I mean, 2002, 2003. Like, I
Yeah.
hadn't seen it since then. So
2002, yeah.
there was a lot that I really had to, like. Basically, it was like watching the film all over again from scratch, and not knowing. But then after 2, I was in that in between phase. I even posted to our movie group on Facebook, Movie Mojo Maniacs, in like, do I start popping the cartoons in there with how long that will
Yeah.
take with all the
Oof.
seasons, and so I got through a few episodes, and I don't think it's something I'll be able to do, and I haven't even gone back to either restart the cartoons or watch
Yeah.
episode 3. But I am, Solo is not far off from where I will
Sure.
continue. And yeah, it just seemed like it did not. I don't know people who spoke very highly of it. Do you think it's just like the expectations were so high because it's Solo, plus some of the casting was well done? Like I love the idea of Donald Glover as
Yeah.
Lando, and I love Woody Harrelson and
Yeah.
Thandie Newton.
Alden Ehrenreich was not a. I don't think he's a great actor, and he's cast as Han Solo.
Yeah.
I'd only seen him in Hail Caesar, the Coen brother movie beforehand, where he played a bad actor, guy who couldn't act. I was like, oh no!
Oh
And there was
god.
all kinds of issues, all kinds of things coming out, leaking out during the making of the movie. Of like, we need to get him a acting coach as he's making this movie because he's just kind of stiff and wooden. And I felt like a lot of it was just sabotaging the movie to get, and people just didn't care when it came out, and I thought it was good. I like a lot of the cast. I like, I always have an issue with you go back and prequels, you can mess up canon, and this one kind of did. It kind of tried answering questions that nobody had, like,
Okay.
I don't know if we need to answer all these questions that nobody really asked, because now you're opening different cans of worms.
Sure.
But I thought, especially on rewatch, I had only seen it the one time in theaters, and then I watched it again like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. Found myself really enjoying it quite a bit. Woody Harrelson's great. I mean, he's great. He's great in everything.
Yeah, exactly. No, now I'm even more. Once again, I'm even more drawn to it because of him.
Yeah.
I
Bless you, sir. My lord.
I turned the mic off just in time. That was gonna be a mess. Just an absolute mess. Okay, I'm gonna ask you to rank 5 movies. Quick.
Okay.
That's okay. I know that's tough, but I want you to rank basically the 5 most recent Star Wars theatrical release films. So that would be the most recent trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So 7, 8, and 9, and along with Rogue One and Solo. I feel like Rogue One. I'm gonna guess your 5 here.
Okay.
Rogue One is gonna be your first, is my guess. I'm gonna say that Episode 7 will be your second. Then you're gonna go Solo as 3, and then 8, and then 9 to round out your 5.
Which one? I get confused on these new. Which one was the last one?
So was that Rise of Skywalker was 9?
Yeah, it was. Okay. I'm looking at my letterbox right now because I
Oh yes, okay.
am unsure.
I love that you
about
have
these.
access at the fingertips.
Yeah, I have to actually look. Okay, so yes, Rogue One is my favorite of those 5.
Okay,
I
that's
think
the I felt
awesome
that.
heist movie. Yeah,
Yep.
really dig that. And then let's see that. And then what was Force Awakens? Oh man.
Force Awakens, yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be Rogue One, Force Awakens. The Last Jedi, and then Solo, and then The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
Okay, so you have Last Jedi Episode 8 over Solo.
Yes, and looking at my scores, that's what it says. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. There's The Last Jedi. I think got unfairly maligned by a lot of people. There's a lot in there that I really enjoy. Yeah,
I didn't hate it as much. I think the 9 made it seem worse, I guess. Like,
and there's a lot in
Sadly.
9 that I really hated.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a
because
lot
they
of
ripped
9
off the Goonies. They just ripped off the Goonies.
There's
Chester
so much in 9.
Copperpot. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much in 9 that I had issues with. I have issues with all of the last trilogy, but I try not to be the toxic Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And so I try and just kind of see the best in it as opposed to dwelling on the worst of it.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I would go there. Rogue One, Force Awakens, Last Jedi,
Then
Solo,
Rise of
and then
Skywalker.
Yeah, and now they're making supposedly another Rey Star Wars trilogy, or at least another Rey Star Wars movie.
Yeah, so I've seen some of that about 10, 11, 12.
Yeah,
A new
I'm
trilogy.
not sure if that's where that story's going. I have no idea.
Do you think this is to sort of a redemption project? I mean, the money is always going to be there, basically. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we know that's always going to be a factor because Star Wars, on the marquee is going to bring money and ticket sales. And
Absolutely.
so I get that. But is this somewhat of a redemption, or like, are they feel like we missed out on somewhere? Is there more of a story to tell?
I'm really surprised actually when they announced this.
Yeah, I feel like
Like
they
I
could go
really like
further in the future and make
yeah.
it kind of give us more of a new set of characters.
That's my thing is I've over this last trilogy, my big complaint is they act as though this massive universe is centered around the Skywalker name. And some of the more interesting things, like for me, one of the reasons I like Last Jedi is there's a moment in there where Kylo is communicating with Rey through their minds. He's in his room, he's in hers, and they're having a conversation. And he tells her, your parents weren't anyone. Your parents were junk dealers. You're not part of this lineage. You aren't anyone special. And I love that because I was like, finally, let's get into something where it's not all everyone has to be a Skywalker in order to be interesting. And then they
I
betrayed
agree.
it. That's one of the things I didn't like about then the Rise of Skywalker, because then the next movie, like, no, 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 no. She's got a name. She's
Yeah.
got a name you recognize. Everyone's either a Palpatine or a Skywalker.
Yep.
And that kind of I was like, oh man, I thought we were gonna go somewhere cool. And so I would love go further in the future. Let's get away from being, so beholden to that Star Wars, that Skywalker name. Let's tell some more interesting stories.
Yeah. And they've proven they can tell new stories. Like look at the Disney series. They can
Yeah.
tell new series, they can with new characters like the Mandalorian, they can take old characters and build off them as well. And I really enjoyed Boba Fett series, Book of
Sure.
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi one, not as much, but there are still some cool things that I'm really
Yeah.
glad that I watched and saw.
They gave me
because of
some
it.
moments that I've been dying for 40 some years.
Exactly.
And I
Yeah.
finally got like, okay, so this was worth it just to see this.
Exactly. And finally seeing certain characters at the height of their powers,
Yeah.
at their peak before, because just with the timeline of Star Wars, there's just times where you're like, oh, this is when they were young and becoming, and then this is near the end, whereas it's like you don't actually see
Let me see him in his prime.
two of your big characters in their prime, you
Yeah.
want to see that. So some of the stories they've told, so that's why to me, I like, they can do really well. And like with retelling or expanding on other stories, we've seen like the hits and the misses, I guess, with Boba Fett versus Obi-Wan or Solo, whatever. But I don't know, I get less, I do want to see another trilogy, but I get less excited about it because of the most recent, I guess, how that all went. And so that's kind of frustrating. But
yeah, I agree.
Oh, should we play a little game?
Oh, I would love to play a game.
All right. So last time we talked, you would run me down through two things, and I would need to quickly choose an option. Or do you have how would you explain?
It's like a this or that game.
Okay.
Yeah, of this or that, and I use it as a way to get to know somebody a little bit more. Find out what we have in similarities, what we differ in. I don't know. And you can kind of have fun with some of the this or that's.
Yes, you can. All right.
You've prepared a game?
I've prepared a game. I have a this or that. I'm going to give you two things, and you're going to tell me this or that.
All right. I've never been on the receiving end of this.
Ooh, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
All right. Ready?
Yep.
Team Jacob or Team Edward?
Oh, Team Edward.
Easy.
Screw that Jacob guy.
Neil Diamond or Neil Patrick Harris?
Neil Patrick Harris. I love Doogie.
Moscow Mule or Kentucky Mule?
Oh, that's easy. That's Moscow Mule, baby. I'm surprised that I'm not drinking one right now.
God, I sometimes I want to. I don't care how we start at like 9 a.m. recording here. For me, it's 9 a.m. For you, it's 11. But there's times where I'm like, let's do it. Let's just get it done.
That's right.
That's been the drink of choice I've kept on hand like the last few months. It's mules, Kentucky or Moscow typically. Hamburglar or Grimace?
Hey, it's Grimace's birthday this week. I don't know if you know that. I went
That's
to
huge
McDonald's.
place.
Went to McDonald's recently, and they had to celebrate Grimace with a purple Grimace shake for his birthday.
What flavor is that?
I guess it's blue raspberry. I don't know. I figured it
Okay.
was just vanilla with food coloring, but between the two, I was a big Hamburglar guy growing up. I had a Hamburglar pen when I was a kid. I used to love.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, according to the Clerks cartoon, nothing can stop the grimace.
that's right.
Tar Heels or Blue Devils?
Oh boy, this is so easy. I hate the Blue Devils with everything I have. I'm not even a Tar Heels guy, but by default, Tar Heels.
Cajun or Greek?
Boy,
This one is for food.
yeah. I am Armenian, which we share Greek cuisine. I gotta go Greek. I do love Cajun food, man. I love some Cajun spices, but Greek cuisine is one of my favorites.
Greek accent or Cajun accent?
Oh, there I gotta go Cajun accent, buddy. That is unintelligible. I love it.
It's my favorite United States accent.
It's because it's insane. I mean, I remember growing up watching the Cajun Chef and trying to understand what he was saying as he's telling you, get some of that spice on there.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah,
I
exactly.
guarantee.
I guarantee. You had the gator. Oh man, it is the best, man.
It
Give me
is.
some Gambit all day long.
Right. Love it.
No effects or in excess?
Wow. There was a while there that I would have said no effects, but I grew past them and I appreciate in excess more. I'm going in excess.
In excess or MXPX?
What the hell is MXPX?
In excess, then.
All right. I just showed my age.
Tune in Tokyo or Frothy Walrus?
Oh my God. Well, I'm old school. I'm a classic. I'm going to go with Tune in Tokyo.
This one's my favorite. Yoo-hoo or U-Haul?
Oh, Yoo-hoo's the stuff. Although I was disappointed years ago when I was addicted to Yoo-hoo for a long time. And then I found out like how much sugar is. I finally looked at one of them and I was like, oh, that's why I'm like so fat. I drink Yoo-hoo all day.
Can't believe you didn't go U-Haul there.
Oh, man.
Bears or Packers?
Okay.
This is a two-parter.
Okay. So I live in Wisconsin. I'm not a Packers fan, not a Bears fan, but at one point in my life, the Chicago Bears were my favorite team when I was in third grade. So I'm going to go Bears.
Bears fans or Packers fans?
Oh God. Packers fans. Bears fans are the worst.
Agreed.
They've won one thing in their entire life. They just keep talking about it.
Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm?
You mother. Dude, this is the impossible.
I know.
These are like two pieces of perfection.
Yeah, it's basically like part one or part two,
Really? So I watched Seinfeld for like the last 30 years. I think it's been one of my main routines of falling asleep watching a show. Seinfeld has been there for me for my entire adult life.
Amen. Yes.
So there's that. Curb, few things have ever made me laugh as consistently hard as Curb does.
Yeah.
But there's one season of Curb that I just didn't like. That just didn't work for me quite as well.
Do you have which season?
It was the season where he was going through the divorce. Like
Okay.
in real life and on TV.
Yeah.
And it just every week was a miss for me. So I'm gonna go Seinfeld.
Okay. Wow, because of one bets. All right.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I mean, that's tough. You got nitpicks, Pick nits, whatever.
Plaza Tavern or Dottie's?
This is very local.
Very local.
Well, it's the Plaza. I have good memory. Both have great burgers.
Yep.
But the Plaza has better memories.
I'm with you. I'm with you there. The Click North or the Click South? I have another way of asking this if you want me to.
Yeah, help me with this.
D-Generation X or New World Order?
Okay, that's what I thought you were going. I just want to make sure. I was a New World Order guy when it was all happening because I was a WCW guy.
Okay, I thought that was the case.
Yeah, although the New World Order just cannibalized itself so badly after a while
Yeah,
that I started to hate it.
sure.
I'm still going to stick with him though because they were my favorite when they were both running. I'll go South.
Surfer Sting or the Crow Sting?
Oh, this is easy. Surfer Sting is what I grew up with.
Surfer Sting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love the Crow, but it was just so weird that that movie came out, and then he
Yeah.
just like I'm gonna mimic that movie about the of a guy who just died making the movie, and now I'm
Yeah.
gonna mimic that. It was so weird.
It is weird. And around 2008, 2009, when Dark Knight came out,
He
he
became Joker
he
Sting.
became Joker Sting.
Yeah,
Very weird. Very weird.
yeah. Like
I appreciate. I've never seen him at least make attempts at being so charismatic.
yeah,
Especially when he was the Crow Sting for so
right.
long. He's very,
Just hiding in
understated,
hiding
dark,
in the
ominous,
rafters.
quiet. He didn't say a word hiding in the Raptors. He didn't say a word on the
Yeah.
microphone for months.
Surfer Sting I grew up with though, going up against Ric Flair and
Yeah.
the Four Horsemen, and yeah,
Yep.
I had a lot of Pro Wrestling Illustrated covers on my wall with
He was
Surfer
their
Sting.
Hulk Hogan. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
really.
absolutely.
In studio or on location?
Oh boy, boy, it all depends. I like the what's the word I'm thinking of? I like the unexpectedness of on location things. I like
There you go.
anything could
Okay.
happen. You're
Sure.
out of the
That's
element,
right. That's why we do it live.
right?
Laverne or Shirley?
Oh, buddy, I had a thing for Shirley growing up, man. Although rewatching now, man, Laverne is so great.
Yeah.
Like she's way by far the better of the two. But I had a crush on Cindy Williams growing up.
I'm exactly with you on that one. Is that crush on Shirley, but Laverne now is just so funny
I
to me that
appreciate Laverne a lot more
yeah,
now.
exactly. Um Mustache question. This is the mustache round. Sam Elliott or Raleigh Fingers?
Whew, iconic. I appreciate the handlebar. I have done the handlebar in the past. I own mustache wax.
You make your own beard oil. You're
Right.
in you're in the scene.
But Sam Elliott is boy, he's what's up, man. That's a mustache right there. Raleigh Finger spends too much time getting her all together. Sam Elliott rolls out of bed looking like a man ready to eat some steak. Give me the Sam Elliott.
That's right, baby. Steak and eggs. Sopranos or The Wire?
The Wire. It might be controversial, but at the start of the pandemic, I rewatched. That was my thing. Like as soon as the lockdown started, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get to some things that I've been wanting to get to for a while, and one of them was rewatching The Wire from the beginning, and then I started with The Sopranos, and I haven't gotten all the way through The Sopranos again, but I think The Wire is one of the top 5 best written shows ever.
The Wire or Breaking Bad?
Shit, there was one of the other ones.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna go with Breaking Bad. Tiebreaker being that it's spun off Better Call Saul.
Okay.
That's gonna be my tiebreaker for 2 of my favorite shows ever. Yeah.
And you're halfway through Better Call Saul, and you probably
Right.
need a rewatch where you'll go back and
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
and that's where I was at. Okay. God, that was a lot of fun.
That was great. That was woo. It's kind of fun being on the hot seat with one of these.
Yeah. Oh man, there's a lot of good stuff to get to. Okay, so basically you have these 3 ranked. And I just finished Better Call Saul
Mhm.
and got through all 6 seasons. And man, it's so good. It's so good. And
Yeah.
you're at a good spot too, because I had the same thing as you. And I want to say there's a reason why you and I did this, where we watched the first 3 seasons and then there was a big gap.
Yeah, I don't
And I
know.
want to say after season 3, like they took a little bit more time between seasons, and then also the pandemic might have also thrown off somewhere in
It
there.
could be. It could
Because Better
be.
Call Saul probably first came out in 2015. I mean,
Yeah, it was a while ago.
think about it. 6 seasons in 9, almost 9 years,
Yep.
something like that
Yeah.
is pretty nuts. And so and I think the way you could split it up is the first 3 versus the last 3, and how the first 3 is like Saul, it's totally different thing, and the last 3 gives you so much Breaking Bad and the feeling
Right.
and like the
Yeah.
setup and so much good stuff that it's like one of the best shows. I'm like I struggle with whether or not it's better than Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
Um,
that's amazing.
it's yeah, 20 yeah, it came out in 2015, the first season. So they were not doing a season a year. So I think there was a little bit of time. Plus you
Sure.
had the pandemic in there.
Well, and then you
Um,
had Bob Odenkirk's health problems. You know, he had the heart attack
oh, when was this?
3 years ago when he was making Nobody, the movie Nobody.
Okay.
He had a
Which
heart
is
attack on
his action
it's
movie?
like his John Wick movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had a massive heart attack, and they didn't know if he was going to make it. So yeah, there was that kind of stopped production on Better Call Saul for a little while.
Oh wow.
Was that 2020?
So that would have been God, that's crazy because he just wasn't he wasn't looking very good when you and I saw him in
His heart attack was
2018.
shortly thereafter. Yeah,
Yeah, so I want to say it would have been God. We
yeah,
saw him in 2018.
yeah,
We went to Chicago, you, me, and our buddy Jeff Robbins,
yep,
former co-host
yeah.
of
Because
Pop
Bob
Culture Time
Odenkirk
Capsule.
was moderating the Eric Idle book signing Q&A, all that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he did not look good. I don't know. We thought maybe he was hungover or
we were
whatever. And this is
we were very unimpressed by him because he was like checked out.
yeah, and you know his name. I mean, it's an Eric Idle thing. It's an Eric Idle book and signing, and it's about him.
Yeah,
But Bob Odenkirk, like his name is still on the marquee, and I like that was part of the reason I wanted to be there as well.
right.
And he basically asked like two or three
Yeah,
questions.
comes up
Then
with a stack of questions,
yeah,
stack of blue cards, and then like asked three of them, and it was like, all right, well,
yeah, and he just sounded like he
yeah.
didn't like kind of checked out,
I
but
remember
not.
thinking that
He
when he
just
had the heart attack, I was like, I wonder if he's been suffering from something.
yeah, because just did not look good whatsoever, and it was kind of sad and frustrating because we want to see him at his best, but
Yeah,
obviously, you know, you can't always do that. But
right.
and then they ended up taking most of the questions from the audience, and not
Yeah,
even not even Bob Odenkirk's questions.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so I just finished Better Call Saul.
Okay. Oh wow. All right.
Loved it.
Yep.
So good. Immediately made me want to step right back into Breaking Bad, watch that through, then watch El Camino,
Sure.
which
Yep.
was also awesome.
Yeah.
And just how that all ties in. And I want to like redo certain timeline stuff and
Hmm.
how things match up. And it's so much fun. They really did such a great job of
Are you going to
creating
go
that
down to
universe.
Arizona and visit the house and the crazy lady that owns it?
No, tell me more about
Oh
this.
man. So you're up in the Northwest. You know the Goonies house
Yes.
has been notorious because for several years there was an owner who owned it who didn't want it to be a tourist attraction and would like hide it behind things and hang things in front of the house and chase people off, and
Yeah, signs up like
yeah.
don't come up, like yeah,
But
all sorts of stuff.
but now a fan owns that house and is very welcoming because they understand what they bought, right? Um, so the lady that owns uh Walter White's house down in Arizona hates everyone that comes by and sits out in the front in the driveway in a lawn chair and just yells at people to go away and belittles people, harasses them, gets in the way of them taking pictures. She's just I got hooked into a real rabbit hole of videos of her of people just stopping like I want to take a picture and then she just tears into them and yeah, it's brutal. Like come on. Like you have something. This could be a moneymaker for you. This could be great.
Exactly. Yeah, if you don't like it, you can probably make
Yeah.
a handsome
And
reward
it's
off that
not,
property.
and yeah, I know like for the Goonies house, the one of the owner's complaints was, well, people are coming and they're like removing pieces of the deck and they're doing all that for souvenirs. But this lady, like people just stop across the street, take a picture, and she comes out and starts screaming and throwing things. And like, oh
Yeah.
man, what a monster.
Oh, I totally get that. I'm gonna have to look up some of those
Yeah,
videos.
it's pretty good.
I'm only an hour and a half maybe or so away from the Goonies house, and
Yeah.
it's been one of my favorite cities. Love Astoria.
Mhm.
That's probably that or Bend are my favorite two cities in Oregon that just such cool places.
Sure.
Astoria is just so beautiful. And anytime people come visit from Wisconsin or elsewhere, I always feel like we have to check out Astoria. And then, of course, if they're Goonies fans, we will check out the house, and then usually watch the movie sometime
Nice.
thereafter too. Like it's all part of the package. And you've got the Oregon Film Museum in Astoria. So much of the Goonies stuff is related to that,
I can't
and
wait to
even
see
pieces of
this
it.
next summer when I come up to visit. I can't wait to
Is
see all
that
this.
what's happening next summer?
I think so, yeah.
All right, sweet deal. I love it. We will have such a good time. I'm very glad to hear that. We'll
Yeah.
have such a good time. So much cool stuff to see.
So now you're done with Better Call Saul. You're thinking about restarting Breaking Bad?
Yes, but you brought this up also, and I too watched all of The Wire during the pandemic. That was one of the first things I did too. It's
Nice.
like, oh, now's the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is just a beautiful show. It's so well written. Each season is its kind of separate thing, and it's funny when you see arguments online or wherever else about what the best or what the worst season is. Some people will tell you like the seasons with the kids are the best. Some people say they're the worst. Like if you rank, there's so many different ways you can go of like ranking these out. It's so weird though. I remember watching during the pandemic and on HBO, now it's called Max, whatever.
Right.
When I got to the last episode of the last season, so there's 5 seasons, the final episode, when I played it, it was only with commentary for some reason. Like something was wrong with HBO.
Oh, no.
And so I got through the whole
No.
season, this is 3 years ago now, and the
Yeah.
final episode had commentary over. I'm like, why? How did they mess this up? Like,
Oh, that sucks.
because so many streaming sites and services, they never have like, here, check out the deleted scenes, or check out, it's usually here's a trailer and here's other things like it. Here's here's who was in the movie.
Yeah.
Here's who was in the show. Whereas like this one, you never get to like check out. Sometimes that'd be nice to like switch to commentary for certain things. I think that'd be really cool. But for whatever reason on HBO, there's one episode, the final episode of the show had commentary
I just want to
over
watch
it.
the episode.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, this does nothing for me.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to rank all those shows. There's been times where I've put this or that above Sopranos, and that's actually what I decided to start watching is The Sopranos and go back. And I'm having so much fun with it. I'm almost through the first season, and I think I'm enjoying it more now than I did the first time I watched through. And I like missed a season or two, and so I didn't get the full experience. I think I missed like the Joey Pants season. And it's been at this point since the show ended that I watched it. So I'm going back. I'm really having a lot of fun with it, but I know that I still have that Better Call Saul in my mind where I'm like, I still got to check out Breaking Bad again, which will be like, I don't know, the 5th time I've watched it through.
It's funny. So I've restarted one of my other favorite shows of the last 30 years has been Deadwood. And so I started like 2 or 3 months ago, started back from because the first season of Deadwood was a long time ago. And so I've restarted that recently. I'm almost done with the first season of that. And another thing I love about going back to some of these shows like Deadwood specifically, but I also found that with The Wire and other things is discovering actors that were nobodies when they were on the show.
Time?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, so-and-so was on this. Wow, look at that. Like they're massive now, but 20 years ago, they were just a kid on the show, Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. Deadwood's great. My only problem is with Deadwood is for the longest time, that was my favorite show.
Yep.
And then they took a long gap and they decided to put out a movie.
Yep.
Made for HBO Max movie, whatever. That came out maybe 4 years ago now. And I really didn't like that. It felt like a long episode as opposed to it's been 8 years and now we're finally doing that movie. And it just felt so lackluster, and it continues to leave this taste in my mouth of like, even though I'm enjoying it, like, this is so great, I'm like, yeah, but I know how it ends.
Yeah,
I know that the final taste I get before I leave the meal is real bitter, and I'm not looking forward to that.
All right, I've got an idea for our next show. I think we want to do a list. I think we want to do our list of HBO series.
HBO series?
Yeah. Have you done something like this before?
No, I have not.
I don't think I can stop at 5. This might be a top 10.
Nice.
Are you feeling that?
I'm in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I think on our next show, I'd like to do the game again because
I've got one for you again now.
Oh, do you?
Go back and forth. Yeah, we can go back and forth every week.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So you'll have one for me next time, is what you're saying.
Sure. I mean, unless
Okay.
you want it now, but otherwise we can save it for next time.
Um, let's save it for next time.
There you go.
We'll save it for
Perfect.
next time. Lots of just all sorts of content. Just our listeners are just salivating. They wanna
For
know
sure.
about our
I'm
HBO
excited. I
list.
gotta get. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to do some rewatching real quick here, just to probably break some ties.
Yeah, there's I almost wonder if we want to say it has to like have lasted a certain amount of seasons or not. I don't know. We'll you and I will talk and
Yeah, yeah.
discuss some
We'll talk off
details and
air.
parameters. We'll talk off air. You're gonna be out of town for the next couple weeks.
Yep, going on vacation next week. I'm leaving for a week in Tennessee. Going down to Knoxville, Tennessee. Family vacation, family reunion. I think there's 50 rabbits that are going to be there, so that'll
Oh
be
my
good.
god,
We've rented out an entire resort outside Knoxville and
that's awesome.
going down the family, bringing the dog on his first vacation, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Jesus. So you go to the hotel bar, you can't hit on anybody because they're all relatives.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, that's
If it was
good.
the other side of my family, that's not a sticking point. I got some real billies on that other side.
That's great. Oh my god. Well, you did say Knoxville.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to that, but yeah, I will not be around for the show for a couple weeks, and that'll probably give us some time to do some rewatching if we need
Plenty
to.
of time. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
for get our HBO lists, HBO series, top 10 lists in order.
Yeah.
Very, very excited proposition. I'm already got things floating around in my brain. I'm very excited about
Me too.
this.
Yeah, that vacation is also the impetus for my triple feature day. The day before we leave for vacation, I
You're
have
gonna be
to
a 12 hours in a
do
theater.
triple feature to get ready for the next week, the next show from remotely, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have your triple feature set up? You already know the 3 movies?
Yeah, it's going to be Asteroid City, the new Wes Anderson film.
Absolutely.
It's going to be geez, let me look here real quick. It will be Asteroid City, No Hard Feelings, the new Jennifer Lawrence comedy where she's hired to take a
I'm
teenager's
slightly
virginity.
intrigued just because I believe if she took on that role that it's actually going to be a funny and or memorable movie.
Yeah, I am as well. And then I believe the last one is going to be The Blackening. No, that's this week. What is the last one? God, now I can't remember. I can't find my list. It's 3 movies.
But yeah, there you go. Asteroid City came out just it was select theaters now.
Yeah, so we only
nationwide next
the
Friday.
23rd is when it comes out nationwide. Yeah.
Okay,
Just for you coastal elites this week.
that's right. God, that's just a wonderful thing, isn't it?
That's right.
All right, damn, 3 times in a theater though. I mean, that's you're gonna be spending all day basically in a theater. Do you stop to go? I mean, you're at one that has a restaurant, so
Yeah.
you can actually get stuff either while you're in a certain theater.
Just have them
You know,
deliver me some
within
food. Deliver me a smash burger to my seat. Smash burger and a beer. Bring it on.
when you've done this in times previous, have you felt like the third movie, the grade suffers compared to 1 or 2, or how do you try and like separate that in your mind? Because like we said earlier with Aquaman and
Mhm.
then The
The favorite.
Favorite,
Yeah.
I didn't even have the stamina to get through The Favorite.
So I think you gotta schedule these correctly.
So the most exciting big boom bang like
I like to have
popcorn.
either an action movie or a comedy at the end.
I agree. To keep
Start
you
with
yes.
start
Yep.
with your drama, kind of move your way through, and then don't end with the drama or you're gonna suffer.
Yep.
Have something that keeps you moving at the end. Um, the worst the worst scenario I've had was years ago. Speaking of Star Wars, as we were earlier, when Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith came out. This was back in the days of midnight premieres, standing in line to get your tickets, all that stuff, right? And I had a friend of mine who is a bit obsessive about seeing movies, and he said, we're going to go to the midnight premiere, and tickets were going on sale for all of the first day at a certain time, like 2 weeks ahead of time. And he said, I'm going to be out of town. Will you get me tickets? Will you stand in line to get me tickets? There's no online ticketing, right? I said, yeah. He goes, all right. If you buy tickets, I'll pay for them if you go stand in line. But You have to go with me. And we went to the midnight show, midnight Thursday night, Friday, back at the theater at 10 a.m. And every single show Friday from 10 a.m. The last show started at 10:30 p.m. This is what he wanted to do. We're going to watch it for basically 24 hours straight with a small window to sleep from like 3 a.m. until like 9 a.m.
The
And
same
so
movie.
we watched Revenge of the Sith over and over and over. And we sat in the same theater in the same seats. We went to the midnight premiere. It was great. I went home. I took a little siesta. We were back at the theater, standing outside in line at 9:30 in the morning so we could get our seats. And then we sat in that theater. And until late that night, I just subsisted on popcorn and pretzels and
Ugh.
nachos and liters of Mr. Pibb.
Ugh.
And it got to be that I hated the movie. I
Surprise.
also knew which points I could take a nap during,
Yeah.
and popcorn has an effect on my digestive system. And so I was getting incredibly gassy as the day went along. And by like the 5 o'clock show, I am just a mess. I'm sitting in this seat. I'm gassy. I'm falling asleep. And I'm realizing that every person that's coming in for every show, it's their first time seeing it. It's opening day.
Yeah.
Their first time seeing this movie. I'm on like my 6th showing of this thing. I don't even care. Right. And I'm probably ruining it for people. This mess of a person sitting next to them. Until finally, like right before the 10:30 show, I was like, I'm leaving. I'm going home. And he's like, you're not sticking around for the last one? We've been doing this thing. I go, dude, I'm going to throw up. I've had so much Mr. Pibb and popcorn. I have to go home. This is brutal. Yeah, I hated that movie for a long time after that.
Oh my God. So you almost spent 24 hours in a theater. Really,
Yeah.
outside of sleeping, you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Never again. That was dumb.
Is your friend do this for like often for movies, or like what was the idea behind this? The purpose?
Yeah. My buddy Brian. Hi, Brian. He watches, listens.
Hey, pal.
He's obsessive. He goes to see movies and he'll see the same movie over and over. If he likes it, Harry Potter movies, loves them, he'll go see them every day.
Wow.
Just go and see it over and over again. Yeah. He enjoys it. I don't know if he's done this since, because I think it was a learning experience for both of us.
Yeah.
Of what the human body can endure watching the same. It would be different if, back in the day, I remember back in the 90s, early 2000s, early days of the internet, that when I would constantly be on the Ain't It Cool News website, checking out movies, the View Askew universe. And I remember
Yes. Oh God.
they would always have annually, they would have the Butt Numathon, which was a 24-hour marathon at a movie theater where they would just show 24 hours of movies. I can't remember the guy's name who ran Ain't It Cool News. He was a real beast. But he would curate this and show like 11 movies in a row, right? And you had to stay for the entire Butt Numathon. That'd be different if it was 11 different movies, but the same one over and over and over.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
unique form of torture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got me thinking of the last time that I saw one movie in the theater twice.
Uh-huh.
Like the last, and I'm having a really hard time. I almost think it's Matrix Revolutions.
Oh, wow.
Which would have been 2003.
Yeah.
The last time that I saw the same movie twice. And before that, I remember seeing Royal Tenenbaums twice in theaters.
I do it from time to time. Like I said, I just did it with Spider-Man. I'll probably do it with Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of it is, the cost is pretty cheap. So
I know. I feel that.
It's not as much of like, oh, I'm going to pay for this movie again.
Yeah. No, I get that. That makes sense to me. And I would probably open myself up to that more often if that was the case. But God, I think it's really been 20 years since I saw the same movie twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, pal. Well, we've talked a lot. We've
exhausted our time.
We've exhausted our time.
Right.
We've exhausted our audience.
Yeah.
But we got some cool stuff that I'm excited for next time, and I'm excited to put that list together. And you go on vacation. I'll do some moving. We'll get back, and I'll probably be in a new location, I guess, a new background for the next time we have our show.
You'll be
maybe I'll do something a little more exciting.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Be on the lookout in your mailbox too.
Okay, will do.
asked for
Oh,
your
yeah.
address, and it was for various reasons.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I will check the mail. I will be
We'll
checking
talk
the
about
mail.
that on the next episode.
Ooh. All
Yeah.
right. Tune in Tokyo. Um
Frothy whale.
Oh my goodness. All right, folks. Thanks so much for joining us. We are Ant and Rabbit. He's Rabbit. I'm Ant. We'll catch you next time.